This Mother's Day, 30 for 30 deal, 1-800-FLOWERS, 30 tulips, $30. Go to 1-800-FLOWERS.com. Click on the code HERD. One of the reasons I think the NFL is the most popular league in the NFL, NBA's second or baseball second. I think the structure of the NFL, it's not dependent on one or two players. The NBA's always been dependent on stars. So when Michael Jordan's your star, it's good. When Iverson was your star, not as interesting. When LeBron's your star, great. When if Westbrook's your star, maybe not as great. A prime example, the NFL draft, highest ratings ever. There was one star in the whole draft, Kyler Murray. Last year, we had a bunch of stars, quarterbacks. Baker Mayfield, Sam Darnold, Lamar Jackson. Got better ratings this year. NFL business is not dependent on one or two people. It's not dependent on stars. The structure of it, plus we bet it, is a huge advantage. Not that I don't love the NBA. I do find something funny. The Philadelphia 76ers beat Toronto last night. I love watching Philadelphia play. I love watching them. I feel so lucky. Outside of LeBron not in the playoffs, all the fun teams to watch. Boston's in. I love watching them. I love watching the Sixers. I love watching the Warriors. I love watching the Rockets. Portland's now a fun watch. Denver doesn't do a ton for me. Either does Toronto. Milwaukee's fun. I like Giannis. But it's funny about Philadelphia. All this BS about the process. The only reason the Sixers season isn't dead this morning is because of a player named Jimmy Butler. Here was one of his moves last night.
Embiid with Siakam helping. Trying to work through two defenders. Finds Butler. Oh, Jimmy Butler, bullseye. 28 for Butler.
By the way, the new GM, Elton Brand of the Sixers, smart dude, he didn't buy into the process. He scrapped it. And he said, get me Tobias Harris and get me Jimmy Butler. But analytically, they're really good players. Let's scrap the process. And since he did that, Joy and I have acknowledged we like the Sixers. They got more good players. Listen, all this hipster BS with the process is a bunch of hooey. You want to know why the process works in Golden State? Because they got Steph and Kevin Durant and Clay. You want to know why the process and analytics work in Boston? They got Kyrie Irving. You want to know why the process works and all the analytics work in Houston? They have James Harden. That stuff works if you have stars. If you have great finishers, Steph, Harden, Kyrie, Clay. You can run that stuff in Memphis all day long. It's not going to work. Analytics are a bunch of hooey. The process in Philly was a bunch of hooey. It works now because they got four good players, and Elton Brand's like, get me dudes. Jimmy Butler's a dude. I mean, Jimmy Butler and Tobias Harris, not process guys they traded for. Elton Brand was like, get me guys. He did it. He got rid of shooters, by the way. Analytic guys love the shooters. He's like, Jimmy Butler's not a good shooter, but boy, he's a good player. And Tobias Harris, hot and cold, but boy, he's a big, strong athlete. Been on a bunch of teams. I like him. And suddenly now Philadelphia has home court advantage in the second round of the playoffs. Last year, they had the analytic guys. Okay, so I'm really into Philadelphia's talent. Now, I do think there's some limitations, and I understand the media tends to fall in love with gimmicks and catchphrases and analytics because it makes them feel smart. We get it. You don't. We're the media. We're smart. We get analytics. The stuff only works if you have the guys that can get it done, right? The fascinating thing about Philadelphia, and we're all going to watch this thing unfold, and I think it's fascinating. They have four really good players: Embiid, Ben Simmons, Jimmy Butler, and Tobias Harris. Elton Brand, who you got? And I have no problem. They're all, Embiid's a brilliant player, but is often hurt, and 7-footers don't get healthier once they've been hurt. He's missed 64% of his Sixer games. Then there's Ben Simmons, who is a brilliant, transformational 6'10 and a half point guard, but can't shoot and doesn't work well with Embiid. Then there's Jimmy Butler, an unbelievable athlete, player in the NBA, doesn't always get along with coaches and young teammates. And then there's Tobias Harris, who wants to get paid, who's going to get expensive, who's got a great NBA body, but has been on a bunch of teams for a reason. He's not a star. And they're going to have to choose a couple of these guys. And I've told you my belief on this. I'd go Simmons and Jimmy Butler. Because Embiid, I'll say it again, it took 6 treatments per day to get him on the floor in these games. He missed playoff games last year. He's missed playoff games this year. 6 treatments a day to get him on the floor for these games. 7-footers don't get healthier. He's got trade value. He's got a big contract, but it's not egregious. He's a great player. Socially, he's fantastic. He'll light up your city. I'd move him. It'd be painful, but I'd move him. And I'd get a shooter somewhere. And I would keep Ben Simmons because they don't make 6'10 and a half point guards. He's in an elite class. He and Magic are the class. 6'9" or bigger point guards who can see the floor. Can't shoot, but get him shooters. I would keep Jimmy Butler because he's really, really talented. And I think his game works with Ben Simmons. He can do what Simmons can't. Simmons can do what he can't. And Tobias Harris, I'd keep him if I could for the right number. He's going to want to get paid. I'll probably have to move him or get somebody else. The fascinating thing about the Sixers is they got 4 dudes, and they're going to have to probably select 2 to 3 of them. And I'm on Simmons because he doesn't get hurt. He's a unique all-time talent. He may not be able to shoot, but analytically, he gets the ball to shooters as well as almost anybody in the league. And Jimmy Butler, they just don't make a lot of Jimmy Butlers. Veteran guy, tough as nails, big shot maker. He's a great athlete. He's just a better player than Tobias Harris. And Embiid, as much as I like him, sometimes you have to move guys you like. It's not a center's league. He doesn't handle a ball. Can shoot an occasional 3, but he's not the future of the league. All that said, good win for Philadelphia. Like him a lot. By the way, here's the coach, Brett Brown, after the game last night, telling you what he thinks of Jimmy Butler.
This was James Butler. That was the adult in the gym. He was just a tremendous sort of rock. He willed us to a lot of different situations. He was a stud. He really was an adult in the gym.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I'd keep him. I just think Jimmy Butler's a very unique talent. Now, a lot of people think he's going to go to L.A. Boy, if LeBron could get him, LeBron's game works with Jimmy Butler. Anybody that handles the ball, your game's going to work with Jimmy Butler. That I like. Joy with the news.
No.